Hi everyone, it's Gene Calderon here, going on with our teaching series about the Triumphal Entry or Palm Sunday or Lamb Selection Day. If you've seen our previous video, we see why we called it Lamb Selection Day, and I'm just going to continue on with what came about on that day and how that day kind of went for Jesus. And he came to a place known as Bethphage, and we read about that in the Gospel of Matthew chapter 21 verses 1 and 2. As they approached Jerusalem and came to Bethphage, on the Mount of Olives, Jesus sent two disciples, saying to them, "Go to the village ahead of you, and at once you will find a donkey tied there with her colt by her. Untie them and bring them to me." So this is pretty typical. We see this all the time, and we just figure, okay, well, Jesus is going to hop on a donkey and ride into town, and everyone's going to realize that Jesus is who he really says he is. And sometimes we miss the impact on that because the idea of riding a donkey just seems so prevalent. We see it so many times in pictures or artwork of the Bible. But the fact is, donkeys only belonged to the rich. And we know that Jesus was not rich. And so this is why he had to borrow it. And it's probably the only time that Jesus ever rode on a donkey, which would have seemed weird for Jesus to stop at the middle of his traveling, walking his whole life, and all of a sudden he stops and asks for a donkey. We know he just came from Galilee, and that is about 110 miles of walking distance. He's only got about a half mile left to go, and he stops at the border of Bethphage and tells his disciples, "I need a donkey." Why does he do this? Well, we know that Jesus knows it is about the time for him to finish all that he came to do. And in order to do that, he needs to let everybody else know that he's about to finish what he came to do. He is about to start fulfilling some prophecy about the Messiah who they were expecting. And that prophecy is found in Zechariah chapter 9, verse 9. "Rejoice greatly, daughter Zion. Shout, daughter Jerusalem. See, your king comes to you righteous and victorious, lowly, and riding on a donkey, on a colt, the foal of a donkey." But why does he ask for a donkey at Bethphage? Why didn't he start at Bethany earlier on, or any time from Galilee until he gets to this point? Why does he stop at Bethphage? Well, if Jesus had come walking in, people would not have paid much attention to him. He is a famous rabbi. He is known for many things. But if he would have came walking in, it wouldn't have had the kind of impact as he would have had riding on a donkey. The other thing is, if Jesus had come from any other direction, had he come from the north, the south, or the west, nobody would have batted an eye. It wouldn't have been a very big idea. But he's going to fulfill another prophecy that is found in the book of Isaiah. In chapter 40 of Isaiah, we read, "A voice of one calling, in the wilderness, prepare the way for the Lord, make straight in the desert a highway for our God." And so having read that verse, where do we look for someone who may be preparing the way for the Lord? In which direction from Jerusalem is the wilderness? Well, the answer is east. And so riding on a donkey from the east, Jesus is fulfilling two prophecies now at Bethphage. Now, again, why is he still stopping at Bethphage? Well, because Jesus knows he has to ride into the city. And Bethphage was the borderline between walking into Jerusalem. Had he taken 2 steps past Bethphage, he would have already been in Jerusalem, and it would have been too late to ride the donkey. And so he stops there knowing that he's being very deliberate, and the people around him would have caught on. And as soon as they see that, immediately they start cheering and crying out, "Blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord, Hosanna on high." All these different chants would have happened because they would have seen, hey, you're doing what Zechariah said would happen. You're doing what Isaiah said would happen. You're proclaiming to be that Messiah we've been waiting for. Except they had different ideas about what the Messiah will do. And we'll get into that very soon in another teaching. But do you notice the impact of Jesus riding on a donkey, fulfilling the prophecy of Zechariah, riding in from the east, fulfilling the prophecy of Isaiah, and understanding that he is riding into the city? This is why he stops at Bethphage, having walked just about his entire life. But at this moment, he's being very intentional. Now, how far does he ride the donkey? We don't know. All we know is he needed to cross that border, and that would have been enough. but we do get the idea he probably wrote it all the way to the temple on Passover. Huge holiday. Remember, there's about 3 million packed in to this city that is only meant for about 80,000 if Josephus's numbers are accurate. But it would have had a major impact. It would have stirred everybody either to excitement or to anger. And we're going to read more about that as we continue in these stories. I hope this blesses you. Again, I'm Gene Calderon. I am a chapter director for Ratio Christi at Purdue University Northwest, serving at my Hope Church at Freedom Church. If you're looking for a local missionary to support, that's what I am at the college campuses, reaching students with the truth of the gospel, which is what we are studying today and sharing with the rest of the world. So God bless you. Thanks so much for watching, and tune in soon. We're going to keep on doing these.